Testing. Anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Sounds
awesome. Thank you. What about you, Travis? Are you here yet? Did he get to test his headset yet?
I haven't heard.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
There you go. Yeah, we can hear you. Sounds good, Travis.
Okay, I'm trying to avoid the weird echoey that we've had the last couple games.
Yeah, it sounds nice. You sound clear without that echoey stuff.
Awesome.
All right, great.
Cool.
Well, I'm expecting that I haven't heard anything otherwise, so I'm expecting that Z will be here tonight. I did get a message from Jetski. He lives in Southeast Asia, and so this game was like a pre-dawn Sunday game for him, and the last 3 sessions with the character generation and the first 2 sessions, he said that was really, he discovered it was really hard to get up that early on Sunday morning, so he's not going to continue in the game. And of course we know that Amira is out tonight, so I don't know whether Henri will be able to join us tonight, but I'm expecting Z will be with us, so.
Okay, so it was convenient for Garth that his character had an accident last session.
Yeah, he said obviously he wasn't planning on that, but he says, now that my character is gone, instead of starting a new character, I think I'll just go ahead and look for a game that works for, at a better time zone. Like, okay, understandable.
Okay, yeah, I kind of felt guilty that he died so soon, so that's why I was trying to come up with a tangible backstory to get him re-involved in the game quickly.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's just like, okay, well, I figured that he would come up with something, but at least if he didn't, then, all right, well, here is an option.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, speaking of getting ready for the game, I've got everything set up now, so I'm going to mute and go grab a drink. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Sounds good. Travis, can you hear me? Pipe here on my end. I got a fan. I'm gonna be running here in a minute. Can you hear anything or?
Right now, I don't hear a fan.
Okay.
Right now, I just hear your voice, your audio, your regular audio.
Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, am I pretty loud? I gotta check my settings. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, hold on a second here. I don't know why it must. Yeah, I'm maxed out. Here we go. How's that?
Yeah, clear as day. It's a lot like
Cool.
just a regular phone call, actually. Clarity.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, there's the fan, that fireplace fan just kicked in. So.
I didn't even hear it on my end. Your mic didn't pick it up.
Oh, okay, cool. I was looking at that push to talk too.
Oh, you got a push to talk option on your headset?
Hello. There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just got the line going into the audio for headphones, and I'm using the mic from the laptop. So, but, okay. So for the most part, it works. I probably should pick up I had a headset, but it doesn't work very good. So I'm thinking about probably. So, yeah, it looks like I did catch a few minutes on the Twitch there.
Yeah. Do you? Well, let's see. We were going to do our best to work with the goblins to take on this bugbear. I got it in the notes somewhere. His name. And they kept saying, no, if you lose, then he's going to come after us. If you lose, and basically I kind of made a decision for the group that I'm not trying to take over the group. I was the one that tried diplomacy when everybody else wanted to bash them. So I went ahead and made the choice when it was time to bash them, because what I felt they were going to do is attack us as soon as we were weak from fighting a big wolf, a bugbear, and 2 more goblins. So gave them the option to work with us. They declined, so we just we had Amira knock most of them out, put them to sleep, and then we bum rushed them and killed the leader, and Z killed most of the sleeping ones, and now he's got Dill back on his backpack, and he's got 2 more scared to death at sword point that's going to lead the charge for us.
Oh, okay, cool.
One thing we did do that you may have not done yet is, I believe, I'm not sure about your character, but they should on average have 2 skill slots available. And most of us went through and added the heal skill, since we don't necessarily have health potions and stuff. And it allows each one of us to either heal ourselves for a few points or heal others. Amira, where she's a magic user, has the option to do the spell 3 times in 1 turn. So that came in pretty convenient.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull that up. There we go. Okay, so the skill, general skills. Oh, here we go. Is that a general skill? Do you know? Or?
General skill. It'll, on the left-hand side, it'll say the number of slots available for your level.
Yep. Oh.
And it should possibly say 2.
Yep. Yeah, I got a 3 there, so.
Oh, so you can actually have 3 skills. So once Gallibond gets back, we'll go over them. Look, compare it to your stats. Each skill has one of your base stats as a modifier. Now, if you check, you should have a handout available. List part 1, list part 2 in your journal.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Those
and also...
Go ahead, sir.
Also in the core rules channel and resources channel, it's a text channel up in the server. There's a PDF that has not only the list of what the skills are, but descriptions of what they are, of what they do. And they're all keyed by what ability score they are scrubbed up against. Yeah, it's interesting that in this original version of the game, they thought about doing skills, and then when they did AD&D first edition, that went away. And then in second edition, they brought back something they called proficiencies, which was kind of like skills, but not really. And then in third edition, they finally introduced, the more recent or more familiar concept of having a list of skills and a list of feats that you can take.
Oh, cool. Alrighty, so right at this point, we just take the 1 heal then, or?
No. A lot of people took heal because it is, as I was explaining last week, in this edition, if you rest for 8 hours, you don't roll for anything, you get 1 hit point back. If you spend 24 hours of not doing anything, you get 3 hit points back of natural healing. So the heal skill lets you basically, after a battle, tend somebody's wounds and do that, recover 1d3 hit points for yourself or that person. Now the skills, there's points that you get, so you can put 1 point into healing and 1 point into something else. You can put 2 points into one skill, whatever. And I think the reason you have 3 is because you have a bonus on your intelligence. So if you have high intelligence, you get extra skill slots.
Cool.
And there is.
All right. So, all right. So we can at this point then we're just gonna is everybody picked one or that's what I'm asking. So right now I have nothing in there.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take a look at your character sheet.
We all went with healing because our characters are very squishy at this point, which we learned from Dark's character.
Great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, within a turn, you can die. So that's why we all went with healing.
Okay. And Travis, what's your character name again?
Theolis.
Theolis. Okay. That's you, Theolis, and then Z is Z. And then Shaun is Tomas, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me just make sure what I had done here. Okay. Yeah, I gave you that. Okay. So I see you've got that partly filled out. So under the name column, if you want to take healing, you just change that to healing. And then the let's see, that goes off of your, I think that goes off of your intelligence. Double check that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it goes off your intelligence, and then you put 1 slot in there. So if you look back at your main tab, your intelligence score is a 13. So what that means is that whenever you try to use the healing skill, you're going to click that little roll button, and it is going to roll a d20 for you, and you want it to roll a 13 or under. And because you have one point in it. If you put 2 points in it, then it's a 14 or under. And if you put 3 points into it, it's a 15 or under. The other thing you can do is you can choose 2 other skills or 1 other skill, and then allocate your other point or points as you see fit there. The caveat for using the healing skill is you can use it at any time, and as many times as you want. However, you can only try to heal 1 set of wounds on 1 character 1 time per day. So, for instance, you guys fought some goblins, and if anybody was injured, you could try 1 time to heal one of your party members' wounds from those goblins. If you can't heal them, then you have to wait to try to heal that person again, either
It is, but it is what it is. So say I rolled that 13 or less, and then what is it? You roll another one for the round, or is that?
Thing to realize, there are, with all the skills, there are botches, and a natural 20 on a skill check is a botch. So if you
Oh.
were actually trying to heal somebody and you rolled a
Mhm.
20, instead of healing them for 1d3, you would actually cause 1d3 points of additional damage.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
basically that's like you're trying to set the bandage, and when you go to cut it, instead of cutting the bandage, you cut your friend's arm again.
No.
And you
Like,
deal more damage.
Don't touch. Don't touch.
So
That's funny.
yeah, and then if you roll a natural 1, it's a critical success. So instead of dealing doing 1d3 points of healing, you do 2d3 points of healing on a natural 1.
Okay.
So you can look through that PDF or those handouts and see if there's other skills that you'd like to add, and then you just kind of like you did before, click that add button, type in a name, put the stat associated with it, and tell it how many slots you want to use. And I'm just reducing your slots available to 2 since you've already allocated 1 to healing. So now you can,
All right. Gotcha.
you can use 2 more. Then I think it's every other level you'll get 2 additional slots.
Oh, all right.
I've got to go double check that rule and see. Or no, you get 1 additional slot every other level. Everybody gets 1 additional slot every other level.
Okay. And oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I just wondered, have you all leveled up yet, or that's coming soon? Or?
No. We have not had enough experience to level up.
Okay.
All right. Well, while we have been here chatting about the mechanics of the game for our player who missed last session, we have reached the top of the hour. So I'd like to go ahead and welcome everyone. Welcome to the Lost Mine of original D&D. I am DM Gallibond, and tonight I am joined by Z, joined by Shaun, and joined by Travis. Our friend Jetski, who was playing Garp, he was trying valiantly to play with us from Southeast Asia, and the big time zone difference monster finally got him, and he said, I just can't wake up that early on a Sunday morning before dawn. It's just too early. So he has bowed out, and Amy is not able to join us tonight because she has a family function this evening. So I am going to just move Amy over to the GM layer. I am going to go find, where did I put Tomas? I put Tomas over here. And for some reason, Tomas, something funky happened with your token. Maybe you were trying to change it, or maybe I didn't finish setting it up. But that's not what your token should look like. I think you sent me in a Discord a while back, Shaun. I think you sent me a
Actually, yeah, that's the one I sent you there.
but that's not what your token should look like. So yeah, your token should look like a token and not like that. So
you mean like a square?
Yeah,
Okay.
right,
Well,
guys, I gotta go take my dog out real quick.
All right. So
He's gonna get
I
angry.
wonder if his
otherwise.
dog named Deal.
No, it's Lucy. It's my kid's dog. But as a dad, you always know.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it, Dad. I'll take care of it.
No, Dad always puts up with the dog.
No, you won't.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you, Shaun, go ahead and send me in the Discord. Send me your the artwork for your character, and I will turn it into a correct token.
All right. Give me a second. I'm gonna locate it.
Yeah, and if you guys ever decide you want something custom for your token, don't do it yourself. Send it to me so that I can make sure it gets correctly turned into a token. And add it.
Did I get
There
sent
you
to
go. There you go. There you
Mhm.
go. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I will do this. Whoops. There we go. Okay. And we'll go to Aha. I thought I had done that, and I had, but somebody decided.
Tomas,
Okay.
your weapon of choice is a bow.
Give me a second. I believe it right at this point. I have bow. Give me a second here. Short sword is first, and then yeah, short bow is the second.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. All right. And then we will say no. Gosh, dang it. Okay, now I'm going to edit this. Okay. Now, get rid of that. And there we go. Okay. You now have a proper looking token. And you should be able to grab that and move it around. Just make sure that you've got control of it. Yep. Okay, good. All right. Then I'm going to take Amy's token, move it over here. All right. And last time when we were with our heroes, they had just finished committing murder most foul to a bunch of goblins. The goblin Yemek, whom they had been warned not to trust by Sildar, the captive, and they put most of the goblins to sleep through the use of Amy's magic, and then while they were asleep, they executed most of them. Z does have Dill with him, and let's see, Tomas snuck back in from where he was hanging out outside. And Amy had to excuse herself, and she ran outside. And unbeknownst to everyone, at least at the moment, Garp went off, tried to climb up the side of an escarpment, lost his footing, and fell to his death, unfortunately. So Garp is over moldering in another part of the cavern. You guys are here with Sildar, who was a former captive of the goblins. You have 2 goblins that you have intimidated to the point that you're telling them that they need to go and basically be your lackeys, and face down their boss Clark, or else you are going to treat them the same way you treated their companions. And what would you like to do next?
Okay, first we need to check with Sildar. And obviously he seems to be familiar to us, so he knows we all work for the same dwarf. Can't find anything.
Yes.
See if there's ask him and see if there's any information he'd like to give us about our common employer since he's not present.
Okay. Yeah, Sildar, you can lean him up against the wall, and he is his hands and feet have been bound. Yimik had pulled his gag off so he could talk to you, and he can tell you, well, when Sildar and I left and we're headed for our destination, we were ambushed on the road by the goblins. They killed the horses and they overpowered us, took our weapons, and they stole all of our goods that we were taking with us. And they brought us here. And this Clark, he's a mean one, that bugbear. He beat us both to within an inch of our lives and asked us what we wanted. And our employer, Gundren, he promised me a lot of gold if I held my tongue, so I did. And he didn't say anything. But I suppose you should know the real reason that we were having you help us get goods to the town. Gundren and his 2 brothers, Thardan and Nundro, they recently located an entrance to a place called Wave Echo Cave. It is an ancient mine near the town, and it's been lost for some time. The theory was that they had played out all the ore that was in the mine, but about 2 centuries ago, a prospector came up with some gold, and some people went to try to find the mine and were never heard from again. And then, maybe a century ago, another prospector claimed they had found the mine and returned with some silver, but nobody could ever find the mine, and everyone who went looking was never heard from again. Well, now Gundren and his brothers have located some new evidence, and they intend to reopen the mine and bring back the By the way he moves, I would guess he's an elf, but without being able to see the ears, I don't know. Now, Gundren, or this friend, this black spider, came to Clark after we were captured, and he showed us both to him. And the spider hardly even paid attention to me, just told Clark to hold me in case he needed me. And he took Gundren with him. And that's not all he took. He took a map that Gundren had that shows the location of the entrance to Wave Echo Cave. I've heard Clark talk about some place called Cragmaw Castle. I don't know where that is, but it could be that this black spider has his base of operations there.
Okay, so that might be the best place to start. The trying to find this Wave Echo Cave, but do you want to finish with the bugbear here first? Is Z back yet?
I've been back. I just forgot to unmute, and I was listening to the DM.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's my bad. Sorry. I guess I should have said something.
It's all right. Well, we didn't know if we had to re-explain or if
I listened to the majority
so you
of
heard
it.
most of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, should we go ahead and cut the restraints at least loose on Sildar? We've got 2 captive goblins. We know that there's 2 more goblins that may be against us, plus 2 goblins with the bugbear, plus a big wolf, and we're down to 3. So it might almost be better to cut and run, but at the same time, I made the call about slaughtering all the goblins, so I think it should be on somebody else to make a big decision.
I mean, with just us 3, I think it's going to be rough to defeat the bugbear. Plus the wolf.
Right.
And anything else that might happen to be over there.
Right.
Okay.
Are these
So
two, I'm sorry.
we sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, so are these goblins over here, are they with us? Are they maybe they'll help us fight?
Yeah, they're helping us. According to our last session, anyways.
So
Right. But there's also 2 other goblins plus the wolf ripper with the bugbear.
Right.
Yes, and also your the other goblin, Vridgelk,
Yes,
that had to go back on duty, and you think that if he had betrayed you, you guys probably would have had company by now. So he probably hasn't betrayed you. If you all head over there, he might help you, but you don't have any way of really knowing that at the moment. Because goblins, after all, are goblins, and they're probably going to help whatever side they think is going to keep them alive.
Right. Oh, have you guys looted the bodies yet? See what treasure we got?
We just did that at the end of the session. We got some gold teeth. If you'll check the party treasure. Yemek's Cave,
party.
session 2.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Do I get that tarp back? The camouflage?
Yeah. Party keeps the tarp. That's from session 1. So I presume that's still on the wagon. I don't think you guys took it in here with you.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, we could play it safe and easy. Take ShaunR out of the cave without really having to run into anybody by going right back the way we come in, get on the wagon and go on to the next town and catch up with, or try to catch up with our employer or this black spider that took Gundren Rockseeker, or we can press our luck and try to move forward at all. It's kind of a 50-50. What do you guys want?
Give me a second.
And Sildar says, I look in rough shape, but if any of you have any skill in the healing arts, you might be able to.
I thought we already tried to heal him.
I don't think you did, because...
Oh. I could have sworn we did.
No.
That's the only reason why I haven't done it yet.
Oh, yeah, no, we had just killed the goblins at the end of the session.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna toss him. I'm gonna try to toss him a heal. Haven't been successful thus far in it, but
Okay.
Right. Let's do a round of everybody trying to heal him. It might.
Okay.
Yeah.
Z does not succeed, but he doesn't do any harm. So that's just
oh joy, I didn't kill him.
Theolis. Oh man. All three of you.
Well, it appears we wanted to heal the rock behind you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, nobody rolled a
Right.
20, so that's a positive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, well,
It's like, oh, well, the
Well,
bad thing is that all of my gear is in Clark's cave. He kept everything that he took from Gundren and myself, except for whatever the black spider had. So my weapons, my armor, everything is in Clark's cave. And I can't get it back until he's dead.
well, perhaps for a spot of gold, since you're unable to assist, we could fetch that for you.
Well, I could. I do know. I do know of a small hunting camp that's not far from this place. If my wits were not completely lost when we were ambushed on the road, we can possibly reach it in a few hours. And usually there are some soldiers at this time of year that are out there hunting. So perhaps if we went there, we might be able to find some reinforcements and come back and deal with Clark. And I could certainly vouch for having them paid out of my salary, if not out of yours. Once I get my belongings back.
I think that sounds like the best plan so far. Reinforcements. But
exactly.
how do we exit the cave without these goblins deciding while we're gone that they need to do something else because the guys on watch might not? Z, you're the goblin expert at the moment.
Sildar says, well, as I see it, there's two options. Goblins are cowardly, and if these goblins say they have no love for Clark and follow him simply out of fear, then perhaps you could force them to come with you and we could see what would become of them. Maybe the hunters will have mercy on them and let them go into the woods, as long as they do not return here. Or, if you don't like those odds, there's always the option of dealing with them before we leave.
Z, they're your captives.
Z, did we lose you? Or are you on mute?
I'm queued up.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
there you are.
Yeah. I was,
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they were waiting for you to say something. Say what you
I
were
was
gonna
saying
do.
something, but it didn't want to queue in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we
So-
weren't hearing you.
I'm not very partial to these goblins. I only own Dill. I wouldn't mind some more goblin blood.
They're yours. Do as you wish.
I guess I could have 3 goblin pets.
These guys
Start a
they-
small goblin army.
and
I'm like looking at the goblins while I'm saying this, like judging their reply. Like,
they're very anxious because the last they heard, they thought you guys were going to kill Clark and use them to help you in that task, and now it sounds like you guys may be thinking about getting rid of them entirely, and they're like, no, please don't kill us, we what do you need us to do? We thought we were gonna help you kill Clark.
Well, Z, you could always have them carry stuff for you. I mean, they might be able to come in handy.
I like that
Yeah.
idea.
They might be able to juggle. They could be entertainment on the walk.
Yeah, and I've already got 1. So, you know, like,
Speaking of
it's kind of like
ones,
cats. When you
Dill.
get 1, you got to get 4. So I guess I'll keep these little bastards.
And
Can I
Dill
tie a rope up onto them and drag them behind me?
Dill says, you want me to be in charge of them?
No, not yet. You haven't earned that.
Okay, all right. And he says, hey, these guys could have killed me outside. They didn't. So if they say they're not going to kill you, I don't think they're going to kill you. Kagre, Shigas, you should listen to them. And they will say, well, all right. Or actually, that's not Goblin. They'll say, well, all right. We'll go along if you say so, Biggest. And Biggest says, no. Don't call me that anymore. From now on, you should call me Dill. And I say, Dill? The hell kind of name is that? And he just shrugs his shoulders and points at Z. And
Now I've got to come up with more names for more goblins.
well, these guys do have names, so you can use their.
Well, so did Dill, but I disregarded that.
Yeah, so it's up to you.
All right, what's some goblin names? I need 2 goblin names because I just picked up 2 goblins. So throw some goblin names into chat and let me know.
Call 1 pickle and 1 relish.
Pickle and relish. I don't know.
Pickle and
Man.
relish.
I kind of like that. We'll see. We'll see as we're walking. You know, you got to see them in action before you can name them. Kind of like a dog, you know.
Right, but this way it makes it easier. You have your whole pickle army.
Yeah, that's true. Pickle goblins.
Okay, so here is goblin names
Spoink.
from generator.
There you go. I threw a couple out there for you.
There you go.
Freck and Pleek.
Somebody in my Twitch chat said Spoink.
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 Spoink. So we'll get one named Spoink, and I like the idea of relish on the other one. So yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go with Spoink and relish.
Spoink and relish. Okay. All right. Hey, Drats. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us on Twitch tonight. All right. So, all right. Oh, well, Amira is apparently on the Discord. Okay, at least on the text Discord. So, Frelk and Pleek. Spoink is one of them. So we'll just go ahead and call this guy Spoink. And did you pick a name for the other one?
We're going with relish.
Relish. Okay.
Yeah,
relish,
I like
relish,
that.
Relish.
Yeah, so we'll have dill, relish, Spoink.
Okay, dill, relish, and Spoink. All right. So they are now. Well, I don't think we can quite call them goblins at arms yet, but they are now maybe Sherpas. Goblin Sherpas is probably about the best that you're going to get out of them at the moment. So what is the plan? Head back to the wagon and then go check out this hunting camp, or
I think that's going to be our best option, is to navigate back across the way we came into the creek. And as we exit, we can stop by to check on Garp. We sent him to do a little recon.
Yeah.
And then once we're out and clear, we can get Sildar some medical attention, since we all failed at that. And we can get some reinforcements and come back in earnest.
Okay. And it looks like we actually have Corelanthus. Hey, Corey. Are you in the Discord yet? No, doesn't look like he's in the Discord. Okay. So Corey. All right, so I'll see if he will jump on in there. Then we will go ahead. You guys can go ahead and start moving your tokens as you want to get out of this area. Because you do have a rope over here that you can use to shimmy down and get down to this area.
Should we just assume that Spoink, Relish, and Dill are with me, or are you gonna manually move them every time?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. As long
maybe
as
we can keep them like
here.
off to the side of the map or something, and just know they're with us, and then we can position them later.
Okay, that's fine. I'll do that with them.
Hey, Tomas, help me lower Sildar down so that we can make sure that he doesn't incur any damage on the way out.
Oh, I totally forgot about Sildar.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. It's we'll.
All right.
I'll come and help as well.
Mm-hmm. Is Corelanthus? Is that? Oh, is that someone? Is that the elf witch?
That's the elf. Yes.
Okay.
Henri is a player. He's in Roll20, but he hasn't yet logged into Discord yet.
Okay. Cool. So we'll have to bring Sildar to his that hunting camp for reinforcements, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, so
Okay,
you
let's
guys
roll.
are able to get ShaunR down between you all down to the ground level.
Okay.
All right.
And get up here. What's the water level look like?
Water is up to just above a human's ankles, so not quite to Tomas's knees.
Okay.
And it's not very swift flowing, so you can cross it pretty easily, ford that pretty easily. All
Tomas,
right. Hey,
we sent. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
hey, Corey. All right, so here's where we are. Corelanthus. Actually, I should probably let Corelanthus be out here because that's where he was last time. Corey, you're trying to talk, but we can't hear your voice. We hear like some very quiet static almost. So, yeah, we're not hearing your voice. Your voice is not coming through. We can see you're trying to talk, but you need to check with your microphone settings. See what's going on there. All right, so while he is troubleshooting that, okay, you get over here and you guys find Garp. And Garp is laying at an unnatural angle. It doesn't look like he has any wounds from weapons, but it does look like he basically fell on his head and snapped his neck. And has expired. And you can see rigor mortis is starting to set in. He's been here for a bit. He hasn't started to stink yet, but so what are you guys going to do with him?
I think we should give him a
Tomas.
decent burial.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say
Loot
I'd rather go
him.
ahead. No, I'm going to take his corpse, put it over my shoulder. We'll put him on the wagon, and we'll give him a decent burial somewhere else from this hole of goblins and filth.
Ah.
Yep. Okay.
Then we can loot
I'm
him.
going with that. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
Thank you, Drats. All right. So, yeah, ShaunR comes out with you. You guys have Garp with you. And then we'll just say that you all find the wagon and you get Garp onto the wagon, and you're able, and ShaunR is able to get up on the wagon as well. And then you guys are able to go off towards the hunting camp. And ShaunR does know, he backtracks you towards the main road that you all were on that game trail that you had been following to reach here. And about halfway to that road, he has you turn off onto another game trail, and in a couple of hours you reach a hunting camp, and it's about dusk the time that you get there. And there's a fire, and there are several horses that are hobbled to trees there, and there's no wagons, but you do see the figures of about Oh, hey, Henry. There we go. Now we can hear you.
Hey, sorry.
No, that's all right. Those guys are. There's about 4 or 5 guys sitting around a campfire, and they. Okay, Corey, you're gonna need to leave your microphone muted except when you're talking because we're hearing feedback. You guys get to that. You guys get to that campfire. There's the guys around it. They stand up as you.
You still hear the background noise?
No, we don't.
All right, cool.
So they stand up as you all approach with the wagon, and Sildar pulls himself up to the edge of the wagon and gives a wave, and one of them goes, "Oh, Sildar, hey!" And so they look a little bit less apprehensive seeing strangers coming up now that there's somebody that they know with them, and they come over and talk to you guys, and Sildar basically tells them what happened, gives them not the full details of what he told you about the mission, but that he and a traveling companion were captured by goblins. Your group rescued him. His companion was taken by somebody else, but all of his gear is still back at the goblin cavern with a bugbear, and that Sildar thinks that, well, he knows he could definitely use a night's rest, and thinks that your group might be able to use some help in going and dealing with the bugbear. And so they look between each other and they say, yeah, a couple of us could probably go with you in the morning. You all know the way, and everyone nods. And one of the hunters who's there pulls out a pouch and pulls out from it a vial and says, Sildar, you may remember about a year ago, you saved me from certain death. And I told you then that I owed you one. I haven't seen you until now, but here, have this. And the vial has a red liquid in it. And Sildar's face brightens and says, oh, my friend, that will be wonderful. I'll drink this tonight, and then in the morning, I'll be ready to go tackle that blasted bugbear. If I can borrow some weapons and some armor until I get my own back. And the hunters, they all talk among themselves, and they figure out something they can outfit him with. And he is duly taken away. And you see that he drinks that potion, and a lot of his wounds disappear before your eyes. So apparently what the hunter gave him was a potion of healing. And we're going to say that does... that doesn't completely heal him, but he is back above half. And then, of course, do you guys plan to bury Garp here, or do you want to take him somewhere else?
Well, I think we'll go ahead, and if nobody else is wanting to, I'll go ahead and bury him nearby a nice spot in the forest where it's relaxing and there's good scenery. I just didn't want somebody with us to have to spend eternity stuck in a cave.
Well, a couple of the hunters, they will help you. They all seem to be fighting men, and they know what it's like to lose a companion. So a couple of them will help you dig a grave, and
I was gonna have my goblins dig a grave.
But yeah, they have that. They help you with that task, and then there's dinner, and there's bedrolls, and there's tents, and they have a system of keeping watches. And Sildar disappears into one of the tents with the person who's supposedly the leader, and you get the impression that he's negotiating with them for how much it's going to cost to have a couple of the men come with you. And in the so what do you guys want to do during the evening? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I have one request. Seeing as how this is an infantry type unit, is there anybody among the troops here would know what I want? I want to make like a not a potion, but like a vial full of cover smoke, if I could, like a smoke grenade.
And they look at you and they say, "Oh, no, we really don't have anything like that. This is going to be, I need to get name generator. Pop culture. Yeah, they don't have any materials for that.
Okay. Okay. That last session, I wanted to pick up that jug. Not this last session, the one, but the first one. That the goblin guards that were drunk. So I would like to at least have that in my inventory. Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure, that's fine.
Would any of the soldiers be interested in some of the short bows or some of the short swords we brought back from Yemek's cave for a little bit of coin?
They say, well, we really didn't bring any coin. If you take that to the town, you can get a merchant probably to buy it from you for some coin. But we weren't planning on doing any trading out here, so your coin purse tends to get lost out in the woods. We basically just brought some coppers so we could gamble at dice with each other, but that's about it.
What does the rest of the party see as the value of the short bows and the short swords? And do we hold off on it till the town? Do we want to? Would they be useful? As maybe we could check with Sildar and see if we could use that to kind of lessen the cost of reinforcement.
Well, when Sildar emerges from the tent, he's smiling and the other guy is smiling. And Sildar will come over to you and he'll say, all right, it's all taken care of. My friend here is going to allow, and he points to two men, is going to allow Albin and Barker to come with us. Albin and Barker, they'll be kind of our men-at-arms, if you will. And they will follow us and help us in our battle against Clarg tomorrow. And so he seems to be pretty happy. And if you guys ask him about payment, he says, "Oh, it's all taken care of. I've
Great.
these
Well,
these gentlemen and I go way back. They know that I am good for the money once I get my belongings back, and I think I can probably persuade Gundren to offer them a few extra coins as well for
okay.
helping us
I
out."
had a question. What are my goblins equipped with?
Your goblins have what do goblins in this thing have? Let me just double check. The goblin has a short sword and a short bow.
So during this time off, I was gonna heal my 1 point of damage. I already rolled earlier while you were talking.
Okay.
And then I was gonna see if I could begin to train my goblins to fight properly, utilizing their short swords and bows.
Okay. You can give that a little try. We will do that in a couple of moments. I need to find some. Actually, no, I can do that.
Sure, I just wanted
I'll do
to
that at
give you
Pregame,
a
so.
knowledge of what Z was up to during this whole reprieve here.
Okay. All right. So during the evening, Z is, or before turning in, Z is going to do that. Sildar has had his conversation. Theolis, anything in
Yes.
particular that you want to do? During the
Yes,
evening?
Sildar is. Yes,
Yes, he
Sildar's a
is.
military man, correct? So he's going to get the group together and as best he can with the resources available, come up with a crude layout, be it taking a stick in the dirt to give everybody an idea of what the cave looks like proper so that we can come up with a plan as opposed to bumbling through. Or that's what I would request of Sildar.
Okay. He says, yes, I can do that. And he will do that in a few minutes. Corey, Henri, anything that you want to be doing this evening? Now, you will be getting a rest, which means that in the morning, your spell slot will be back. So you can memorize either the same spell you had before, or you can choose a different spell for the next day. Because you had cast your one spell previously. So that will be available to you. But during the evening, do you want to do anything?
Are we going to set up some kind of watch order?
The hunters will definitely welcome any of you that want to take watches with them. They kind of have a watch rotation set up, and a couple of you look like you were pretty badly beaten up. So they had not necessarily expected you to help, and Sildar has just promised to give their group a pretty tidy sum of money for some help. So they're like, yeah, we're not going to go and have the guys that are paying us do a whole bunch of extra work. So, but if any of you want to help with the watch, they will be glad.
I want to take first watch, and furthermore, I want to climb up to a tree and stay there by myself, keep away from everybody, and constantly have a lookout with my arrows knocked.
Okay. All right. So, actually, they will tell you that over there is a tree that has a rope hanging from a branch, and when you look up, there's actually like a stand that they use for being on the lookout for game. They say it's pretty nice up there. If you want to go up there and take your watch up there, that's fine.
Do we all
and
know
then
he's up there?
I presume if he's doing that, he's going to tell people.
Has
that
he
he's
had
doing
lunch
that.
yet or dinner yet?
I eat very little, but thanks for asking. I have my own rations in my backpack.
No, you're ruining the fun, man. I was gonna get a bow and arrow and shoot a sandwich up to you.
That's okay. You humans keep away from me. Keep your human food away from me. I eat berries and nuts.
We gotta have fun with this, right?
Sleep well, you pointy-eared devil.
No, you know what? I'll take first watch. I'll climb up there and I'll meditate on my sleep spell.
Okay. All right. And Tomas. So in the evening before Tomas turns in anything in particular he wants to do. I'm just kind of getting the lay of what we want to do the next few minutes before we take our break.
Okay. I want to research my. I got one skill I want to research would be craft, but I was looking up the options for that. It says pick one, and I was wondering. I didn't see any. Craft. What would I? This is choose type, and I didn't see anything. I mean, what kind of craft?
Okay, so using the craft skill, let us. Okay, let me go to the actual rule book here. And that's general skills, crafting.
Sorry to slow things down.
No,
guys.
that's all right. Craft, choose types. Character knows one type of craft. Examples include armor making, bow making, tattooing, leatherworking, smithing, weapon making, etc. The character must choose one type of craft the skill pertains to. Of course, you can spend more slots and have several types of craft. Character can make his living at the profession and with a successful roll, make expert opinions on subjects pertaining to the skill. So in this edition of skills, there's not like they give you examples of the kind, but it feels like these are just representative examples. If there's a particular craft that, like if you want your character's, day job or apprentice before he became an adventurer, he was apprenticed to some sort of craftsman. Then you tell the DM what kind of craftsman was he apprenticed to. The DM says, yeah, I'll allow that, or no, I won't allow that. And then he can use that skill to do that thing. And so it's kind of nebulous. It's not like in 5th edition where there's a fixed set of, of like artisans' tools and jewelers' tools and craftsmen's tools and map makers' tools and all that kind of stuff. There's not specific things that are already set up, and those are the only choices you get. This is a little bit more open-ended. But what were you thinking when you were thinking of a craft? What kind of craft were you thinking of?
Oh, well, going back to that cover smoke, I don't think I'll actually really even need that. So, now
if you're thinking of something that could brew potions or something like that, the alchemy skill would probably be the closest thing to that. Because alchemy allows you to recognize and identify common alchemical substances, potions, and poisons. And success will allow you to create an antidote potion for one specific type of poison. So in other words, if you have the alchemy skill and somebody gets poisoned, then you can use your alchemy skill, saying that, I've been picking up herbs along the way and whatnot, and I'm going to try to brew up a potion to as an antidote to this poison, because a lot of times poison minutes. So there's a clock ticking. And unless you get them to a healer or unless you can do something mitigate the poison in that time, then the character dies. So there's a lot of poisons that have a delay. There are some poisons, like some spider bites. It's just like, okay, you get bit. Sorry, you're dead.
Oh, right.
Nothing you can do about it. But you could, if you, let's say, fought a giant snake or a giant spider or something, and you have the alchemy skill, you could like harvest the poison glands and then maybe use that to brew up an antidote. So in case you run into that same monster again, you then have the ability to perhaps save a party member that gets bitten.
Actually, that sounds like it might come in handy. I'll just go to grab that.
Okay, yeah.
Do that. That was under intelligence. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I'm going to do. Then I'll just study for alchemy and
okay.
get that added.
All right. So we had a thought that our friend Sildar was going to kind of hold a planning session with the group on what we would want to do in case we run into, or when we get back to the Clark's hideout. All right, so let me go ahead and this will be blank. Okay, I'm going to move our map over here. All right, so Sildar is going to ask everybody to gather around. And he says, well, I'm not much of an artist, but I can give everyone a good idea of the layout of this cave. And so he says, you already know about the main tunnel. I am going to say this represents the mouth of the cave. And you know there's a little river that comes out of it. Well, the tunnel goes in and it curves up and it gradually climbs up. And you were aware of the chamber here that had the chained wolves, and you were aware of the little tunnel here that went to the area where the goblins were staying. This tunnel continues on until it reaches a lake. And this lake, that's what the goblins call it. It's really more of a pool that is subdivided with 2 rock dams. One dam near the front here, and one dam about halfway up. And when they release those dams, it causes a wall of water to wash down. This passage here that you were in goes to a bridge that goes above that stream and along next to the lake, and then into a much larger chamber that is Clark's chamber. And when I was in there, I could hear the sound of the wolves down below. So I think there must be some connection between these two, but I have not seen it for myself. Perhaps that's what your friend Garp was trying to was trying to get at when he fell to his death. So there is that potential there. Now, in Clark's cavern, he has a fire pit that is over here. And there are a pair of goblins that are with him. They are his personal guard. There's also his wolf. And then there's Clark himself, the large bugbear. Then over in this area of his cavern is his, what he calls his treasure vault, which is merely a pile of crates and boxes and old chests that have his personal loot. And I think that's where he's storing my materials. Now I know that there were as many as a dozen different goblins, usually 6 at a time on duty and 6 at a time at rest, that lived in here. And you have reduced that number by approximately half. So let's say that there are now 6 between the goblins that you've slayed, the ones that you have captured. That would leave about 6, not counting these 2 bodyguards of Clark, the bugbear. So, I believe one of them usually watches this bridge. I believe a couple of them are usually stationed at these dams so that they can release the dams. And then maybe there is another guard that watches the entrance to Clark's cave. So, given that, what do you all think?
Well, Sildar, on our last entry into the cave, they let loose one of the dams, and we became injured because of the rocks and branches and everything that gets caught in the rush out. So,
likely this dam has been breached, and it will take them, especially with reduced numbers, it will take them days to reconstruct that. The goblins are not what you would call smart, but they are clever, and they have learned how to build a rock wall, if you will, that is easy to knock down, and will hold back most water, but only allow a trickle through until it is knocked down. And they have done that in 2 places. So this one may be down, which means this one we would still have to contend with potentially.
Now, giving your experience with Clark, would you say he's an intelligent or brute or a strategist, or it's just opportunity?
Well, Clark's strategy is, from what I've seen, is to intimidate the goblins to do his bidding and to try to overwhelm foes with numbers. And then if anybody gets through the goblins, he will send the wolf after them. And if anybody hurts that wolf, he will bring his spiked great club and be very violent with them.
Now this area between Clark's den and this lake, is it possible the pathway in front of Clark's den for him to get down into this flatter area if it's drained?
Okay, so can you ping what you're thinking?
That's the arrow from the toolbar.
No. Yeah. The arrow, and then just point where you are and hold down your left mouse button, and it should ping like that.
Yeah, but
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can he use this path here? Would Clark be? Is it a path that he could use to get to this area, or is it too much of a drop off? Is he more likely to follow this road to deal with any issues?
No, I mentioned I'm not much of an artist. This path here does diverge, and one path takes you back down towards the entrance. The other path takes you over the bridge above the stream. So coming out of his lair, he can go both ways.
Z, Sean, Corey, you listening?
I hear you, friend.
I too hear you.
I'm thinking of doing something a bit stupid. Okay.
Don't do
Hold
that.
on, pause real quick. How far did I get in training with my goblins before we go into the whole stupidity of his plan?
Roll me. We're gonna call this.
And then also, any downtime that I have, can it be, unless I say otherwise, can it be under the assumption that I am constantly training these goblins to be proper soldiers and fighters?
Yes. In fact, I like your sense of gumption that you're going to try to do that. All right. Roll me a charisma check, because in this game, that's what you use to influence the reactions of other creatures. So, okay. So you feel like after working with them a little bit that you can teach them both a verbal and a visual command, a single verbal and a single visual command of when to fire, so that you can get them to hold their shot until you give the command and have them fire. So you can let that be, whatever kind of hand signal or whatever kind of command word you want. And then if you want them to kind of hold their shot, but that's about as far as you're able to get with some limited time in one evening.
Okay. I relay all that over to my comrades so that they know kind of the progress of our new green booger teammates.
And the two fighters that are there with you, what did I say their names were? Barker and Albon. Barker and Albon, they say, is he mad? Is he really trying to train goblins to fight? And I guess they'll ask Theolis that.
He has a way with goblins. It's best not to get between him and his pets.
Well, all right, but if
he has goblin fever.
Okay.
Everybody has to have a hobby. It keeps him fresh.
Okay, well, if they attack us, I'll have words after I kill those goblins. But as long as they don't attack us, we'll trust that he can keep them under control.
I assure you, at the slightest sign of distrust, Z will remove their heads happily.
Considering I almost
Okay.
beat 2 to death with 1.
You name your goblins Spoink, Relish, and Dill.
Yeah.
Yes. Spoink, Relish, and Dill.
Okay.
All right. So all right. So you guys are talking about this, and Theolis was about to come up with what he thought was a very dangerous and perhaps reckless plan.
Yes, I did.
Okay. What was that plan?
Okay, I need 1, maybe 2 to come with me. What I think we should do is,
Now on
Okay.
on your toolbar, do you see like a little paintbrush?
Yes.
Okay, you can click that paintbrush, and then you can choose what color you want to make it. And I just would pick a color other than the one that I used.
Gotcha.
And you can sort of put little freehand arrows, and don't worry about how neat it is. It's like,
Okay.
this is an art class, so.
Gotcha. Okay. It's kind of a simple plan for the most part, if I live.
Okay.
Okay. What I was thinking is we split up here. Me and 2 others, once the rest of the group can clear out the bridge here and lower 3 ropes. Now, once that's done and we can advance from there, the party hangs back where they drop the ropes. Me and the other 2 move into this area proper and basically call out Clark. He's a ugly, stupid, ignorant a-hole, whatever we need to get him motivated to send out the goblins and possibly Ripper. Now, once we're fully engaged there, if somebody could possibly either one, open up the dam here to let loose the water, or the plan hopefully would be to, if just the goblins and Ripper down in this area, or if we can, to get Clark down here and then open up the flood with me and the 2 others that are helping me getting to this point where we could grab onto the ropes and escape the water and the deluge that floods out after. And then everybody that was not in harm's way here come running in fresh and ready to stop stuff. I say it's risky because my character is squishy and I will more than likely either fall in battle here or fail to grab the rope and die as I get flushed out the toilet. Thoughts?
Well, I like the plan. Can we have a fail-safe in case you do get washed down? Maybe a rope across that you know where it's at and you can grab onto it.
That's what the 3 ropes on the bridge are, is for me and the other 2 to each have our own individual rope that we could try to grab.
Right, but I'm saying another one.
Yes, the more fail-safes we have in place, it's given the description, that was the only place I could think of that.
So is Z thinking, instead of like a rope hanging down from above, maybe a rope across the thing that you could grab onto as you are slung by? So not a tripwire, but more of a handhold to grab as you go
downstream. Yeah,
that's
because I mean, there's a rock inside. I think there was a couple of rocks inside of where the wolves were when we initially went through.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we're standing up near this ledge where we went up previously, that 10-foot cliff thing, if we had a rope just going across there and one of us pulling it tight, like, it's something for you to grab onto.
Okay. Yeah, and if Clark gets tumbled down there, he may not see it, may not notice it.
Or we can just let it go.
yeah, okay. Or if he tries to grab onto it, just whoop, let it go, and
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we can have somebody on the other side. I can have one of my goblins on the other side, and if I yell "cut it" or something, he cuts the rope.
Okay.
That way, there's no real safety for Clark if he does happen to grab onto it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how to separate the goblins and the wolf from Clark and keep the rest of the party out of harm's way until we get Clark and I think it's risky and stupid. That's why I'm risking myself on it. But if anybody else wants to race the yellow and throw in some ideas too.
Well, Sildar will not erase the yellow, but Sildar will ask a question.
How?
Sildar will say, okay, I think, as I mentioned before, that there's going to be a goblin posted here. So if you succeed in avoiding detection at this juncture, and you can make it up to that bridge, you will have to deal with that sentry. Otherwise, that sentry will call out an alarm, and the others will be notified before you can do that. There also are liable to be goblins here and here, so that if you then make your way up this path, you would have to deal with those goblins, or else they would call out and Clark would be alerted to your presence. And don't forget, there may be a guard here. Now, with the numbers you have thinned, I do not know how he will intend to deploy his remaining goblins. He may have additional lookouts on the tunnel. He may have additional lookouts at the mouth of the tunnel. He may pull everybody back to defend his cave. Who knows?
I mean, with that being said, my goblins are in this meeting of the minds here, so we can ask their input as well. Like if their goblin guys have, probably turned, or where he might put people and stuff like that, to try to get a little bit more intel out of it.
And Dill says, "Well, I would, for what it's worth, I think you can be pretty sure that Vrdgelk is not going to turn against you, because I think he believes you guys, with your magic, you're more than a match for Clark. Now he may be a bit miffed when he discovers that we're all gone and we're not gonna attack Clark tonight, and who knows what that's gonna make him do. But he's kind of a coward, so I doubt he's going to say anything that's gonna make Clark really mad at him. Because if he tells Clark he knew about this and he's known about it for hours and didn't say anything, Clark's liable to put his head on a platter, and Vrdgelk knows that. As for the others, well, once Clark finds out that the other goblins are dead, and he will find out during the night, that's for sure. Because when people don't get relieved, somebody will go and check, and they'll find the bodies in there. Then Clark is going to try to get them even more terrified of him than they already are, so that they will be willing to, lay down their lives and the lives of their cousins and their sisters and their brothers and their children to defend Clark. If he can do it. The question is, can he convince him? I don't know. And he kind of looks at you, shrugs his shoulders, realizing that information is probably not very helpful, but that's what he thinks they'll do.
No, I like this plan. It's not bad. It can draw them out. And you want to draw Clark out to here, or just you think you'll send the goblins and the wolf out here?
Well, more than likely, he'll send the goblins and wolf first. That's why the plan is for me and one or two others to be the bait. They think we're the force that killed his goblins that he had there. I obviously will look familiar to some of the people, whether or not they've said anything about who invaded or what's going on. So they might think just me and the one or two individuals are the invading force. And so if he commits the goblins and the wolf ripper to attack us, it may give you guys a chance to get the upper hand on Clark. Now, one thing I did not think about that was described was this area right here seems like they were saying that they could see light, and he says that there's a fire pit. So we might want to honor Garb's sacrifice by taking another look at that with more than one person should the worst happen.
Well,
Right. Go ahead.
do goblins have an affinity for climbing at all, or getting through that area a little easier?
No, but the only advantage that the goblins would have is their size. And they say, no, that's where the other wolves were kept, and if anybody made Clark mad, he would always threaten to throw us down the shaft to the wolves. So we never went in there because that was kind of scary. But the wolves are dead now, so.
Well, I'm gonna ask Dill if he thinks he can make that climb.
Oh, well, Dill's not a great climber. I don't do terribly well with heights, so.
Would you rather
not.
be thrown, goblin?
Easy one moment. Thomas happens to be an acrobatic.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I'm just gonna raise my hand and say, "Yep."
And Sildar looks over and says, "Oh, yes. I have known a few halflings in my day, and they are extremely clever and can be very quiet and nearly invisible when they want to be. I would recommend, as you say, having somebody with him just in case he slips, but he should be able to nimbly get up there and get an eye on the situation." And then he also turns, because I presume this is all dinner before watches start and everything.
Right.
He looks over at Corelanthus, and Sildar says, "And Corelanthus, I would say that you should try to trail whoever is going to be the bait here, and position yourself so that you can see the entrance to Clark's cavern. And when Clark sends out whoever he sends out, you could maybe use that. I think somebody said that you have that same magic that put everyone to sleep like Amy used. So you might be able to use that to put the goblins and the wolf to sleep. And then all you'd have to do is deal with Clark himself."
Ooh.
Well, since Amy is here already, we might have a double sleep though.
Oh, so was Amy? Amy's been able to join us. Okay. Hey, Amy, you snuck in really quietly. I didn't even notice you were there, but I see you on.
Yeah, I rolled a nat 20 on sneak, so obviously.
Welcome. All right. I don't know how much you've heard But
I
this
joined
is
around Let's Throw the Goblin up the thing. I don't even know what the thing is, but I'm on Team Throw the Goblin.
okay. This is a sketch in the dirt at the hunting camp that ShaunR is making for the group of the cavern where you were. This is the tunnel in. This is the goblin cave where you. Oh, I'm not pinging things. Okay, this is the tunnel in. This is the goblin cave where you slew Yimik and his followers. This is the cave where the wolves are. There's a bridge that goes over the creek here that he knows about. This is the big pool of water. There are 2 dams, but by reports, this one has been triggered. This one probably has not been triggered. And then the X's here, here, and here, and here are guard positions that Clark usually uses. This is Clark's personal chamber, treasure vault over here, the bugbear here, the fire pit here, his 2 goblin bodyguards here, and the wolf here. That's kind of the layout that ShaunR was able to give you. And then they've been trying to figure out, okay, when they go in there and not thinking they were going to have their elf or their magic user, they arranged to have a couple of mercenaries along with an equipped ShaunR kind of helping them as men-at-arms go in and fight everything. But now this actually potentially changes the entire calculus because now you have 5 PCs, and you have ShaunR, and you have 2 fighting men-at-arms. So it's possible that you guys could just go brute force this like a number of adventures since you've already dealt with half of the goblins in the place. But
Haven't I already used all my spell slots for today?
You have, but you're going to spend the night at this hunting camp. Everybody is off at a hunting camp spending the night, and then you're going to go back the next day to try to deal with Clark. So you will recover your spell.
Oh, nice.
Your spell slot, and you can either choose to memorize sleep again, or you can choose something else. And Corelanthus is here as well, and he's an elf, and he also gets 1 spell every day. So you guys could both take the same spell because you both use the magic user spell list. You could take the same spell, or you could each choose to memorize something different, and you guys can kind of have a arcane huddle to figure out how you want to strategize your spell use.
Team Magic.
Definitely, I love that.
I think we got
DM. I
Yes.
have a question. Can you find out how many hit dice does the charm person spell affect up to?
I have that
Yeah. Charm a person. That is.
It's only 1 human, isn't it? 1 humanoid thing.
1 humanoid, and I think it. Let me just double check because there is a rule on that spells and spell casting. All right, so I'm going to do this. Charm person. Okay. This spell will only affect humans, demi-humans, and certain other creatures. The victim is allowed to have as general rule. The spell only affects creatures which look similar to humans. It will not affect animals or human-like creatures larger than ogres. Okay. Now, what Henri is talking about is that in the later editions, they did things like specify this spell will not affect creatures above X number of hit dice. In this edition, it says it just won't affect a human-like creature that's larger than an ogre. So you can't cast it on a hill giant, or you can't cast it on a like a troll or something like that. It's got to be an ogre or smaller.
Okay. Is a bugbear smaller than an ogre?
Yes, a
Alright,
bugbear
we're good
is
to
a
go.
humanoid, and this is another thing that another difference of charm person that you all would know if you have the spell. This is something you would know. So you do not know how intelligent a bugbear is, but you know if the creature is low intelligence. If it fails its initial save, it does not get another save for a full month. If the person has an average intelligence, they do not get another save for a full week. And if they have a very high intelligence, they do not get a save until the following day. So, unlike later editions where it's an effect that has a finite period and then it drops off, the charm person in this one, you can literally, if you charm a fairly dumb creature, you can literally have it think it's your best friend for months until it finally makes a save.
I would like to have the bugbear as my assistant now.
Exactly. So, guys, so I'm thinking if one of us, between me and Amy, memorize the charm person spell, we can potentially have a bugbear being our friend for like at least a week.
My friend, but I'll let you guys use him too.
Yeah, the person who cast the charm person spell on him. What do you guys think?
I like it. Now, Tomas, I brought up the idea of using you in your acrobatics. What are your thoughts on things?
Okay. This is what I had in mind. I think with Amy and Amira in now, I think we have enough to where your plan will work. If you take this guy out here, you guys go down the bridge, and then tree here, come up on this way, and it sounds like with is the infantry coming with us now? The
Yeah, the two
guards
guys,
or whatever.
Alvin and Barker.
Yeah, Alvin and Barker, they have been hired, so they're going because this sounds like fun to them.
Okay, cool.
Kicking some goblin butts and taking some names and getting paid by Sildar.
Okay, awesome. So I do have an idea for a distraction. If I can get up in here, I'm going to ask one of the whoever if there's any alcohol available.
Yeah, the hunters, they actually they kind of look at you. They say, well, "What the hell you think you're supposed to do while you're hunting?" And they go into into one of the tents and they bring out a saddlebag. And as the saddlebag shifts around, you can hear the clink of bottles. And they put it down and they open it, and there are a couple of jugs of whiskey, and there's a couple of bottles of wine, and there's a bottle of rot gut.
Ooh, I want the most highest potent alcohol, and I whip out the jug from my inventory, my empty jug. Say, I want to make a big Molotov cocktail. I want that together, if I could.
Nice.
Okay. Well, what we will treat that like is we will treat that like flaming oil, which is a weapon in this edition of the game. So let me go to the equipment. And as soon as we finish this up, I think we're going to go ahead and take our break, and then we will put all of these crazy plans into motion in the second half of our session. So burning oil.
The first half was over. Wow.
Yeah. Burning oil has a range. I'm going to put this in the general Discord. All right, let's do this. Let's say burning oil or whiskey is 1d8 with a range of 10, 20, 50. Okay, so those of you who have been here when we talked about the way range weapons work, the first range increment, you get a +1 on your attack roll. The middle range increment is a flat roll, and the far range increment is a -1 on your attack roll. So under your ranged weapons thing on the combat tab of your character sheet, what I usually wind up doing is I usually wind up making 3 entries for the same item, and put the short range and give it a +1 on the, because I think there's like a miscellaneous column for adjustments. So +1 on that one, a flat roll on the medium range, and then a -1 roll on the other range. So that way, when you know how far your target is, you know which attack roll to use. It just keeps you from having to do extra math to figure out what armor class you hit.
Okay. I'll just put.
Oh, wait a minute. That I did something a little bit wrong. I need to. It's actually, the middle range is actually a little kinder. It's actually 10 and 30 and 50. Okay.
It was 1d8, right?
1d8 damage.
Right.
And
awesome.
burning oil will. Let me just see. Burning oil, burning oil, burning oil, burning oil, burning oil, oil burning. It's oil burning, right? Oil burning. Oil burning. This type of weapon causes 1d8 points of damage each round the target is on fire. Oil that has been lit and thrown will burn for 2 rounds. If you're using the optional weapon master, no, we're not doing that yet. All right, so yes, so you get to roll damage 2 rounds if you score a hit. If you miss, then it sets the ground on fire at the place where it hits, and that fire burns there for 2 rounds. So anybody who goes through that patch takes burning oil damage.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you end up throwing it in the water.
All right. Okay, so basically that was it. If you guys want, I can wait. I have the grapple hook, so climbing up here probably shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
I think Lady Amira should go with you and 1 soldier so that you can get an idea what's going on in Clark's little cavern here proper. Then pull her up or the soldier up, depending on the situation, before our main distraction starts. You got your Mazel Tov as a backup. It gives her the opportunity to possibly cast her spell and enslave Clark. And then the reason why I propose that Lady Amira do that is, as Tomas is an elf, the pointy-eared bastard could go ahead in front of us and navigate through the cave, since he can see in the dark without giving away his position with the torch to the goblins that are on patrol.
Okay.
Actually, I think Tomas is the halfling, and I think Corelanthus is the elf.
Okay, sorry, I got it backwards there. But yeah, have Tomas go up the incline that took out our dear friend Glarp, and then Corey advance on, because that's where I think it'd be best to have most of the party go, is to try to get back into the area where we slew the goblins and to come across the bridge before we just have to come up with a sense of timing or signaling to know everything's in place. Obviously, Tomas and Amira would be able to see what's going on as long as they're able to be hidden to know when there's a commotion. It's just if we figure out a signal that the guys could use once they get to the bridge to let me and whoever's with me know to advance on into the area below the lake or pond where this first dam was to engage.
Are we going with the rope idea across as well for the extra layer of redundancy?
Yes.
Okay, so
down from the bridge and one across somewhere of your choosing.
Okay, so that being said, I'm gonna station myself holding the rope over near the lift up area where we went before to get up to where we slept and killed all those goblins. And I'm going to have one of my goblins, Relish, on the rock side that it's tied to in case we got to cut it. And he's got a short sword with him. And I can give him that signal. And then one of my goblins can give you the signal. We'll use Dill since he seems to be the most intelligent and most willing to operate and work with us. And then the third one can just be helping me hold the rope so that it doesn't like slip or anything. That way we've got that covered. And then whatever you needed from Dill for the signal for you to be good, like you just explain it to him.
Ah, very well. I didn't think of that. We could have Dill. He seems to be fairly complacent to you. If you order him to go up the way we went, obviously they're going to be mad that we took out some of their comrades. But if he talks to whoever's on watch on the bridge so that they don't open fire, and then maybe a whistle or something like that, let us know that it's okay, or he can come up with a signal that lets us know that no, they're mad at us and it's just going to be a fight. But he could either say he escaped us so that they don't attack him at that point, or he could give us a signal like a whistle to let us know that it's okay, it's safe to advance. We're not going to be taking any type of shots as we try to work up to the first dam area.
Right. That works. So I guess we just communicated that to Dill to see what he said.
Oh, okay. He will say, yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can go check it out. I can tell them that I escaped and see what their reaction is, and if it's, I'll tell you what. Tell them that I escaped, and if they seem to buy that, and that doesn't seem to raise an alarm, then I will I'll just say like, woo wee, I was scared. And when you hear that echo of me saying woo wee, then you know it's time to come and attack.
All right, and I'm gonna incentivize him a little bit more. Dill, if you accomplish this, I will make you my highest lieutenant in my upcoming goblin army.
Oh, a lieutenant? Does that mean like I get a little pin or something that I can wear?
We'll figure it out. Let's get through this step first.
They like shiny.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Let's get through this step first, and then we can talk about that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay, so Tomas and Amira are taking the first path to the right, and one soldier one of the soldiers, Albin or Barker, with them. Then Z is going to be stationed in this first area, sending Dill ahead to the bridge. And Corey's going to be running point, probably shortly behind Dill. So that leaves me going up to the center and Barker.
Are we doing this tonight, or are we doing this tomorrow after we take our rest?
Oh, tomorrow after the rest.
After your rest.
So remember, guys, we want to make this bugbear our friend. So we don't want to kill it.
Right. That's why Lady Amira and Tomas are going up the back. Is so once I can draw out the 2 goblins and possibly the wolf, she can cast the muddle or whatever the spell was that would make them think that it's a friend. And then if that works, she'll give us an all clear. If not, Tomas has the Mazel Tov to distract him in some way, and the soldier Albin is there to give them physical protection.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so I marked my area on the map. You'll see the bright green,
Yes.
and then the 2 green. Those are 2 goblins. My green
Right.
is me, and then that's the rope tied to the rock. And then I
Right.
don't remember where Dill was going. He's going up here, right? Like
Yeah, where
this
the
way?
blue dot is to the bridge. He's
Okay.
going to go up this back way to the bridge because there's
Yeah.
going to be a lookout there, the first one that could give our position away. Yeah,
So he's going to be up here.
if the coast is, where the blue is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Now,
there,
I
y'all
think
know my marking and my guy's markings.
right. And then what was it? If there's a problem, he'll say, "Shoo, he was scared," or if the coast is clear, he says, "Shoo,
I
he
think
was
it's
scared."
if the coast is clear, he's going to say, hey, Dill, which one was it?
If the coast is clear, I'll say woo-wee. I was
Okay.
scared.
All right, so that means it's safe that the lookout is either on our side or not there, and we
Yeah.
can move past. All right.
And if they don't buy it, you'll probably hear me yelling help as Clark tries to attack me. So one of the two. I'll give you a signal one way or the other.
Okay. All right, so
Before he goes off on his mission, I try to tell him off to the side that he should try to recruit these guys.
Recruit the other goblins.
Yeah.
Okay, he's like,
if he feels that it's something he can do.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't want it in earshot of any of my comrades, though.
Right. Okay. So then, all right, that's good. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and take our break. I have 5 till. Let's come back at 5 after the hour, and we will then see what we can do with our assault on this particular encampment. All right, and I'm going to put the music on, and I will mute myself.
Okay, I don't know if everybody else is on the break proper. I'm sorry, I was just putting some names down so that I can see how it flows.
I'm still here. I'm streaming, so I don't leave my computer.
Okay. But
Plus,
yeah,
I
I
got to do
think.
voiceover stuff today, so I'm working on that.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh. Building a goblin regiment, aren't you?
Something like that. Something like that. No, I don't intend on attacking my comrades here.
Right.
I have far bigger plans than that.
Yeah, I just wonder how the DM's going to play it out. If obviously the goblins get scared and work to whatever, but what kind of mood they're going to be in since they're going to come back. Oh, they were supposed to take on Clark, and then all of a sudden a bunch of our buddies and the one they wanted as the leader is dead.
Right. Well, I feel like, you know, with my relationship with Dill, I feel like big things can happen goblin wise following somebody who is capable of slaying multiple goblins at once as opposed to another goblin, you know? Like, because I mean, they're following Clark because, you know, he's a mighty guy and he scares them and, you know, whatever. But if I'm not necessarily scary, but not necessarily nice, you know, I feel like they would definitely fight for me, you know?
The lesser of two devils.
Right.
But
I mean, I'll be fair to them, you know.
Right.
I've been fair to Dill so far, except when he was, you know, bad mouthing, and his buddies didn't want to back down.
We gave them every chance we could.
See,
to
and
fight for themselves. And what I did not want to do is to get into a situation where this bugbear and the wolf had tore us apart, and all of a sudden the goblins will go, well, we don't need these people anymore, and take it because
exactly.
I saw Garp die from just walking. I was like, oh crap.
I know, right?
I mean, I felt so bad too because we killed some goblins while he had to stand back and watch. So I wanted him to do something that he wanted to do, and he wanted to go check that out. So I sent him on over there, and I didn't even think about sending somebody with him. And next thing you know, it's snap.
Yep. Poor guy.
Oh man. Yeah,
but I figured if we train these dudes and we bring them up with us, like, and we can bring a lot, like, it's gonna make the campaign just a lot easier, and like we can probably have a lot more fun with this too.
So, yeah,
that's the whole reasoning behind it. I don't know if anybody's ever done anything like this in their sessions, but I thought this would be the fun way to play this out.
Right,
it's my first time playing DnD, so I mean, I'm gonna have as much fun as I can.
Right. Well, I've played D&D before, but I'm old. Like 30 years ago, when I was 13. I played this version of D&D back when it was the new version of D&D. Well, it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, what I played. So I think it's version 3, something like that. But yeah. But no, I like the way you're going. You got your own little in-character subordinates, so that depending on what kind of bad guys we run into, you've got different personalities and other ways of finding information that are good tools to have available other than putting your character in full risk, especially until we get up a couple levels.
Right, exactly. As soon as I took those first hits, I was like, I'm going to need some form of something.
Right, that's why I was like, okay, we all need to learn something like heal. Because I'm used to having like a cleric or wizard or some kind of magical item that helps recover hit points. We had nothing.
Well, that and I've been listening to Life Reset lately. I'm on I think I'm about to be on the 3rd book, and it's goblins are growing on me, I guess we'll say. The main character of the story, he's a high level player, and he gets reset into a level 1 goblin, and he gets trapped in the game and all sorts of stuff, and he's got to figure out how to increases boss tier and stuff to be able to escape the game. And so like he's building like a goblin civilization. And so like I'm taking a little bit from the Life Reset book series as I play this game as well. It's been fun. I love the lit RPG stuff, man. It's a blast to listen to.
No, I haven't tried that one.
Try it, man. There's just about something for everybody in the lit RPG area. I mean, it covers anything from, you know, being trapped in video games to just telling the story through a video game to all sorts of stuff. Like if you've seen or heard of animes like Log Horizon or Sword Art Online or any of those, it's similar to that, but in a book form. A lit RPG is.
Right, kind of like How Not to Summon a Demon, but
Yeah,
not
yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah,
adult
kind of.
X.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, what was the other one? Crap, there was one I watched.
Dude, Isekais are all over the place.
Yeah, there was a center pillar or something. That's how they got into the game. That got them into the fantasy world that they had to, and then they got stuck there.
The center pillar. Are you talking about the newest one that just came out? Like a new one that just came out?
Oh, I'm not sure. Sometimes I've watched so many different anime.
There's just so many. There's so many Isekais. It's hard to even say. And a bunch of them have like pillars and stuff like that. What's that?
Somebody say anime.
Isekai. Isekai anime, yeah. The ones where they get trapped in video games and stuff, or trapped in another world, or
I could not finish
teleported to another world.
There's way too many series, first of all.
There's way too many what?
Series of Sword Art Online. If there's more than 100 episodes, I won't start it till the show ends.
Well, so they're not. It's not one that you got to watch all of them, though. If you watch the very first one, you're pretty good. After that, they go into other games, basically. And it's a different story in each game. I mean, the premise is still the same, but it's a different story in each season, so to say. So I would just stick with the first one, watch it, you're good. One that I would really watch.
And speaking of stories,
Log Horizon. Go ahead.
Speaking of stories, let's go ahead and reel it back into our story. And
beautiful segue.
We will continue the discussion of other great fantasy entertainment out there, perhaps after the session, Table Talk. So I want to circle back and make sure. I believe everybody had a chance to decide what they were doing during the evening. So Corey and Amira discussed what spells they are going to take. Corey, your watch goes off without a hitch. Anybody else that wants to help watch? All right. I'll remind everyone, I think everybody has been here for at least one session, that you all started with inspiration. And you all had a point of inspiration. And with inspiration, you only have one at a time. But let me ask, who put all the names on the little hand-drawn map here?
That was me. I was just trying to get a better sense of visualization for myself about who's going where and what their positions are.
Okay, so that was Theolis, right?
Yes.
And Theolis, have you used your inspiration? Or do you still have it?
I still have it, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. All right. Well, all right.
I don't think anybody's used it.
Okay, I was gonna say if you had used your inspiration, it would be worth giving you inspiration for that, for helping to mark out where everybody's going. Okay, and I presume during the break you guys all discussed that and everybody's happy with where you're
we did not.
headed. Oh, okay.
We did not discuss anything.
Anime was very important to talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
So then, where Theolis has people deployed is good for everyone. And don't forget, you also have Sildar is going with you. And there's the 2. Well, are you all taking the 2 goblins that you were trying to teach out, or are you leaving them here at the camp for?
They're the dark green marks. One is near the rock. One is with me holding the rope, and then Dill is at the bridge.
Right. Okay. So Dill's up there. All right. So then we would have Relish, and we would have Squee, or whatever the hell you called him. Squeal.
They'll be with Z.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. So then, any objections to where everybody else is deployed on the map? All right. Hearing none, the night passes. The 2 spellcasters recover their spells. Sildar is back to
just for the record. Just for the record. So Amira, you say you're gonna be the one who's gonna try to charm the bugbear, right?
Yes.
Then I will memorize the sleep spell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought we were doing, but that's good to just double check. All right, and he got some armor, so oops, let me just double check and see what his armor class is now, because he borrowed armor. All right, so yeah, Sildar gained another hit point overnight, so he's back to 16. I'm going to pull everybody out of here. We're putting Garp over here. We're going to bring Relish. Oops. There's not 2 Albons. There's Albon, and there is... what was the other guy's name that I said?
Barker.
Barker. Thank you. Barker. Okay, so Albon and Barker are the 2 men-at-arms here. Sildar is here with them. And Amy, I had put you on the GM layer, so I'm going to bring you back to the token layer. And then I'll put you over here with the rest of the group. And Corey, I'll put you over here with the rest of the group. And as you approach, Theolis and Z, why don't you guys move back a little further away from the entry of the cave, so that we can do some checks here and see if anybody notices anything. So go ahead and do a we're going to call it an intelligence check to see if you can spot
Who's doing the intelligence check?
Whoever wants to. You guys can all make a check. Oh. Okay. All right. I'm not going to do that. You guys know the layout, so I'm not going to cover this all back up again. Even though what Corey can see is hiding in the shadow of this rock, there is a goblin lookout. And
I'm gonna inform the rest of the party just so they're updated.
Okay. All right. And it looks like he's there, but Corey, he's probably been there all night, because it looks like his head kind of is lulled onto his chest, and if you got closer, you might be able to hear him snoring, but it looks like he's probably fallen asleep there at his post.
Can I sneak up and capture him?
How stealthy do you feel?
Let me confirm with my comrades here. Should I go tie him up?
Well, let's let Corey get a little closer to be sure of what all he can see before we move you into harm's way.
Okay, I'm all right with that.
All right, DM, I'm gonna move here.
Okay. Make me a dexterity check as you move, just to be sure that you don't step on a twig and crunch it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, you get just around Z, right about here, and you step on a twig, and there's a loud crack, and this guy startles and looks up, and he looks at you, and you see surprise register on his face.
Does that mean I get a free move for like a few seconds?
No, but what it does mean is if you guys intend to take hostilities, we can roll initiative.
Is Dill with me? Like he's still like beside me, I guess, right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Dill is here.
Dill, quick! Tell him we're here for Clarg.
And Dill will say, okay. And then he steps out and he says, Egrug, you don't like Clarg. These guys are here to take care of Clarg. We can take over the place for ourselves after they're done. And Egrug looks and says, they're your friends? And Dill says, yeah. They're my mercenaries. They're helping me. They're helping me get rid of Clarg. And then he turns and looks at Z and gives Z a wink. And
Goblin wink. So cute.
And Egreg says, 1, 2, 3, 4, many more. Okay, more you than Clark has. Okay, I not stop you. And Dill says, "Oh, come on, join us. It'll be fun." And Egreg says, "No, I'm scared. I'm just gonna run away if that's okay." And
so at this
Dill,
point, when he said that, can I usher Dill forward towards him and join Dill walking towards him?
Sure. Because now you've got him talking,
Exactly.
as opposed to doing that. All right, so Dill is going to walk over here as well.
As I'm walking, do I see anything else inside?
Find out the layout.
Right. That's what I'm working on. Do I see anything else inside?
No, your human eyes can't see much past here, but there's no alarm raised at this point.
So at this point, I'm gonna get a little bit closer to him, like within reaching distance with Dill beside me.
Take a moment and ask who's on guard duty throughout, what transpired through the night, or he was asleep, but what
Right.
found out before he was put on guard duty.
Well, there's a motive for me getting this close.
Right.
Because he said he might run, so I don't want him to run. Because him running it could trigger something else. So I want to be within catching distance, so to say.
Okay, I was just making sure that the sword was still sheathed for a moment.
Oh yeah, we're good. I'm not showing any signs of hostility.
Okay, and you guys got the impression that if he said he wasn't going to try to stop you, he was going to run away. That meant he was probably going to run out of the cave and leave, instead of running in.
Okay, well, that's just as well.
So when he said he was going to run, so just to make that clear, when he says run, he means run away.
So at this point, I instruct Dill to whisper to him that there's a goblin army forming.
Dill says, "Forming. We don't have to listen to the bugbear anymore. We can be our own army." And Ergo says,
And that we're offering training and all sorts of stuff.
"Yeah, we'll train you. We'll train you. We
have
have
Relish speak up.
Relish will walk up and say, "Yeah, Ekrig, turns out these humans make pretty good trainers. They know a little thing about actually tactics, which, Clark's idea of tactics is just go kill that. But these guys, they kind of know how to be strategic and stuff." And Edgar says, "Goblin army, but who's gonna lead us?" And he looks at Dill. He says, "You gonna lead us?" And Dill says, "Well, if you want to put me in charge, I'll be happy to lead." And Ergurg says, "Well, how much you pay for the army?" And Dill says, "Pay by not killing you?" And Ergurg says, "Okay, fair point. You got more people here, so yeah, all right. What do you want me to do?" "Well, just shut up and get out of the way." And Edgar says, "Oh, okay, I can do that." So then he is going to go over here next to Relish and kind of stand around looking a little nervous, but a little more relieved that he hasn't been skewered by the humans and halflings and elves that he's been told are frightening beasts. Every goblin mother tells their child horror stories about how the humans will come and slaughter them all and take all their meager belongings in the night. So he starts whispering to Relish. He seems to be asking him questions about this training. So
Z, what were you able to find out about who's on guard duty throughout the rest of the cavern?
We haven't asked yet. We're getting through the first part. We're winning him over to our side. Now we can ask him.
Okay,
so
we're
gonna
ask him
about asking him about the layout, who's on guard, everything.
And he says, "Well, up at the bridge, Vridgelk is on guard duty at the bridge. And then there's Alvis and Nolzus. Nolzus is at the entrance to Clark's cave. Alvis is by the second dam. And then, of course, in Clark's cave, there's his bodyguards, Parduk and Renner, along with Ripper and Clark himself. And none of us have been able to sleep because Clark kept us up guarding all night. He was sure somebody was going to come during the night and try to attack. So I imagine everybody's pretty tired. I was so tired I almost didn't see you guys coming.
Vridgelk at the bridge. We captured and released him the last time we were here, so he may be more easily persuaded should Dill approach him at the bridge with Corey.
And Ergag says, wait a minute. You mean Vridgelk is part of this army too? And he didn't tell me? Why see that guy? I should kick him in the butt. It's like, that's a whole day's pay I missed. Is he already getting paid for being in this army, Dill? Dill says, shh, no, not yet. You haven't missed anything. It's like, oh, okay, good. And then they sit around waiting for the party to decide what they're going to do.
Z, you're head of Goblin.
Z, are you with us? We're not hearing you if you're trying to talk.
What do you guys want to do?
Well,
Oh, we had it planned, so let's roll out the plan here. Let's get everybody
All right.
in party order.
Stage one. Let's go with stage one, which was Tomas and Amira and was it Albin to the first area on the right so that they can see what's going on with the escarpment.
Okay, so Thomas and Amy and Albin will go over here. And yeah, by this time, they've actually gotten rid of the corpses of the wolves, so the wolves aren't there anymore. Amy, are you still with us?
I'm just trying to figure out the best way to get my hat through the hole.
Oh, okay.
It's very important my hat cannot be dirty.
Can you move your token? That was the main thing. Is I just wanted to be sure you can control your token. Okay, yeah. All right. So I guess the plan is for you guys to be over here. If you get over here, what you can see is that there's a kind of an area that looks like a natural hearth. So it's maybe about 3.5, 4 feet tall. And then there's sort of a chimney behind it that's in this triangular shape. And Thomas doesn't even really have to duck. He can just walk into the hearth and look up. Amy would probably want to take her hat off to duck through, but then she could probably put her hat back on when she gets into that chimney area. Albin could be down at the bottom, and I guess then the question would be, what order do you guys want to go up?
Yeah, I can go first and leave the rope down for the other two.
Okay.
Now remember to hold your position until we start our distraction elsewhere. That's what's most likely going to leave Clarb unassisted.
Hey guys.
I'll wait for word. We'll get it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just I'll grapple hook up and leave the rope down for the Amira. Then we'll just wait up here for the whatever. I'm sorry, missed the password or the code.
Is hoo-wee is what you'll hear from Dill.
Okay.
If the coast is clear. Okay. Or you'll hear Dill help if he gets attacked by Clark.
Okay. Right. So
either way, you're going to have Dill yelling. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what I would like you to do, Tomas, when you're down at the bottom of this chimney and you get ready to toss the grappling hook up, I would like you to make a dexterity check. And this dexterity check is to see if you can get that grappling hook up on the ledge and do it rather quietly so that it doesn't attract attention. And you can, in fact, see light from above. So there is a campfire going. You can hear voices talking. There's multiple voices, and one sounds a little deeper than the other. Two of them sound a little bit like goblins. You can't make out what they're saying because of all the echoes, and one is a bit of a deeper voice.
You know what? I would like to hold this action until everybody gets into position. If I pooch the roll, then these guys are already going to know what's coming. So I would like to hold off on doing that.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So you can relay that information to Albin and Amy to know that you're in position but holding until such time. All right, Z, you're heading up that way, and was Dill going with you? And was anybody else coming with you?
I'm moving close enough to be ready to go to the bridge once Dill's
Okay.
able to give us some information.
Okay.
Now, Corey, you're kind of following Dill, but at a distance enough so that with your improved eyesight that you can give Dill backup should it be needed.
So I have Relish with me, and then Spoink is on this rock right here.
Okay, so Spoink
and there's
is
a rope
on
from me to this rock.
Okay, and let's see, where was Relish? Okay, so
He's with me up top.
Okay,
He's going to
so
be
Relish.
holding the other end of the rope with me. And then
Okay,
Dill's
so-
going up here that I know of.
Okay, so Dill's going to go up here, and you want him to go around to the bridge and try to make sure that Verdgelk is still in on the plan.
Right. And then let me get this guy. I haven't named him yet, but let's get him up here with me holding the rope.
Okay. So
Earning first day's pay.
Yeah, he'll help you hold the rope there.
And then Sildar and Barker need to be with me, please.
Sildar and Barker. All right. So they are with you.
Yes.
All right. So Dill says, all right, I go and make sure Verdgelk is still with the plan. And then I send him back to you. Is that right?
Yes, and then you'll let me give my rope to him and instruct him to lower 3 ropes across the bridge if the coast is clear. If not, give the signal and we'll come help you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can probably have Verdgelk help me with that. All right. So he is going to go here, and I am just going to do this. Even though it's dark and the humans cannot see what's going on, for the benefit of the players, I will just reveal this here. So Dill goes up here, and indeed he sees Verdgelk, and there's some conversation that happens, and it stays quiet. There's some conversation that happens, and then if you could see in the dark, you would see 1, 2, 3 ropes drop down from the bridge to the water, and then both Dill and Verdgelk, they come back over here. And
I put 3 squares on the bridge to represent the rope.
Okay. All right. Cool. So the ropes are there, and they are tied off. And Dill says, "Yeah, Verdgelk, He'd almost fallen asleep. He thought you guys had abandoned them, and me too. But I said we were off getting training, and that we were making an army, and that Fred Gelk could join the army. And then he smiles at Z. Like, I hope that was okay.
You did make him your lieutenant, so he's showing good initiative.
And
all right. So we need Corey to move on to the bridge before me and the two with me advance. I think he just stepped away from a moment, though. Okay, he should be back in just a second.
Okay.
But Corey's supposed to move to the bridge where he is a elf. His dark vision or infravision is supposed to allow it so that you can give us some more
He's back.
into the area. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so go ahead. In case he didn't hear part of that, tell him.
Oh yeah.
Where
Corey's
you
advancing to the bridge so that he can use his infravision to scout this area ahead before the party advances.
Okay, so I guess Corey, they want you on the bridge over here, and if you actually go ahead and put yourself on the bridge, so you'll be on that level. And when you do, I will give you an idea of what you can see with your
Infravision.
elf. Yeah, your elf revision. Yeah. Not quite the same as Elvis vision, but similar. Okay, so you can basically see this. There is a guard who is sitting down, and his head is kind of nodding, like he's having a hard time staying awake. He's here. And then let me just check with the angle and the distance. Oh, okay. Yeah, 60 feet. So you can see a little bit more. You can actually see back to about here. And you can see this other guard is standing at the base of some steps that go up in this direction. And that probably goes into Clark's area. There is some light spilling out of this, like firelight. So there's a fire in there, probably like a campfire style fire. And this guy is doing his best to stand up, but it almost seems like he's sort of leaning on the wall for support.
So I'm gonna go back and tell the rest of the party what I see.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So you relay. Well, you don't have to move your token. We'll just say that you relay the message through Dill, and he can tell Z, and then they can get the message down to Theolis and the rest.
Oh, that'll work.
We'll relay back to Z that we'd like Dill to advance and, if possible, approach the two goblins. Now, is the one in front of the steps, if he can identify, is that one of the traitor goblins, or is it one of his friends, is what I want to know. If it's one of the traitors, I don't want him to advance yet.
Dill can get over here next to Corey, and he can peer down there, and he says, No. Those guys are okay. Nolzus, Nolzus is just dumb. He's dumb. And he'll do whatever I tell him. One time I even made him eat one of my boogers. That's how dumb he is. Alvis, he's all right. It looks like the bodyguards must be inside, along with Clark and Ripper. But I think that's the only ones that are left. I think everybody else is either dead or with us.
Okay.
So that's the message he will send back.
So what do you think, little man? Can you bring him over to our side?
And he says, well, if Nolzus leaves his post, Clark's going to know something's up. So it'll be tougher to get to him. Alvis, I could probably convince him. And maybe I'll show Nolzus a gold piece. Or a silver piece or something like that. And tell him to be quiet. And he might get the message. But I can't go there and talk to him without Clark or his bodyguard seeing me and asking me what's going on.
Right. Okay, I need him to, before I can move, I need him to at least attempt to talk to the guy that's ready to set the dam loose.
He's like, okay.
We need that.
Okay, I can do that. And so he goes over here, and Corey, you can see him pause there, and he puts a finger up to his mouth, like stay quiet. And Corey can see the other two goblins nod their heads, and then Dill walks out over here, and he whispers with Alvis. And then you see Dill pull something shiny out of, well, you're not sure where that came from out of his loincloth, and you probably don't want to know. But he pulls like a shiny coin out of his loincloth somewhere, and he holds it up and waves it towards Nolzus. And you can see Nolzus nod his head. And then Alvis nods, and Dill starts to come back, and Alvis is coming with him. And then Alvis sees Corelanthus, and he goes, he doesn't say anything, but his breath just catches, and Dill says, don't worry about it. Corey is fine. He's with us. He's one of our mercenaries, gonna help us get rid of Clark. And Alvis is like, okay, if you say so. God, so, but goblins and elves working together, that just doesn't seem right. And Dill says, you get used to them after a while.
I'm gonna say, you got something against elves?
Calm down, pointy ears. It's okay.
And
wait till they meet Z.
And Alvis is like, well, my mother always told me that if I ever was caught by an elf, that the elf would throw me in a cook pot and have me for stew.
He'll only cook you if you try to hurt him.
And he hears that, and he looks, and his breath catches again. And humans, oh God, humans are even worse. They'll steal everything from you, then they'll put you in a cook pot. Oh, Dill.
Where do you think Dill's shinies come from?
And he looks, and he says, "Oh, you mean the mercenaries pay you?" And Dill says, "Yeah, I have my charms." And Alice is like, "Well, Dill, I thought Yimig was something, but okay. Yeah, what do you want me to do?" And Dill says, "Just shut up and stay out of the way." And it's like, "Okay, I can do that." And then Alvis will, and he says, "Just go over there. Go past the elf and go wait in the tunnel." He's like, "Okay." And so he goes and he tiptoes around Corey and goes over here into the tunnel. And then he sees Vergelk and he waves at Vergelk.
All right, I'm close enough to talk to Dill.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Dill know that I need him to take the place of the goblin he just took. So he's manning the pull log or whatever that destroys the dam. He can put his back towards Clark's cavern, and if he's ordered to throw the dam, to act like he's struggling and it won't work, so that they don't realize that he's on our side. I'm getting ready to move the characters up and start my distraction.
And Dill says, "Gotcha. Okay." And then he runs over here and he gets into position.
Right.
So then you want Sildar and Barker to follow you up?
Yes, please. It's going to have Sildar and Barker. I'm going to try to move into this area so that I can more or less be seen, one of them possibly behind this rock, and then the other, I guess the one you already have behind this one is fine. That way they only are kind of aware of me.
Okay.
Let's see how this plays out. And then have Sildar here so that this goblin can't see him, and there's no line of sight from Clark's entrance, that all they would be able to see would be me.
Okay. All right. So
shouldn't Amy be up there too? Since we're so close to
No, Amy's
Clark.
Amy is down. Amy's gonna be going through the chimney the other way.
She's gonna be trying to put a spell
gonna be
on
down
Clark.
here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're just gonna say because there's a grid and it wants to snap everything to the grid, we'll just say
Right.
Sildar is here and out of sight. When Theolis, when you poke your head around here, you can see Knowles as he doesn't physically react other than his eyes get a little wide, and Dill turns around and puts a finger to his lips and pulls that coin out again, and Knowles is then he kind of swallows and he just sort of stands up a little straighter, and so he's not apparently going to say anything at the moment. So when he sees you poke around there, that's what happens.
Right.
And when you do get to that point that you can see there, you will be able to see some light spilling out of this area, but obviously from your line of sight you can't see what's up in there. So
Right.
you can see that there are stairs going up into a cavern that opens, and that cavern appears to be lit from the interior by firelight.
Okay. Now, I guess we're getting ready to get this going. Obviously, you're already ready, Mr. Gallibond, but you're going to be doing 2 NPCs plus everything. You want a second before we get started, or are we good to go?
Well, actually, when I'm looking here at the time. The time, we've got about 12 minutes until the end of our session, and
Okay.
I know that in the past, at least 1 or 2 people have kind of wanted us to stick to a to a hard end to our session. So what I think before we get into an actual combat, we will start the combat next week to begin the session. But what we can do is we can, if you guys feel like everybody else is in position, we can try to resolve what happens with Amy and Albin and Thomas. We have probably enough time to do that and see what happens on that side of things.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I guess somebody will make a message and Spoink will relay the message to Amy and Albin that everybody else is in position. So Tomas can, can try to climb up with his grappling hook and see what he can see.
So basically what we're doing is we're relaying.
Yeah, basically you're relaying through.
Well, I'm saying from up there, up front, through Core, through the guy, the unnamed goblin in the tunnel to down to us, and then we're pulling on the rope to like signal Spoink that everything's good to go.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's fine. If that's how you guys want to do it, that sounds good. All right, Tomas, you got a 13 out of 16. So the grappling hook catches, and there's no change in the sound of the voices that you're hearing. So it doesn't seem like they stopped because they heard something. They keep talking. So you feel like you haven't been heard. Do you want to climb up? Because now the fact that you have a grappling hook, you're not going to have to make a climb check. You'll just can use that to pull yourself up to the top.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, well, in that case, then, we can go ahead, and I'm just going to, for the benefit of the group, I'm going to do this the easy way, and I am going to just reveal this area. All right. So, Tomas, when you get up and peek over the lip of the chimney, which from the perspective of this room is like a trash chute, you see there are two large stalactites that have some shadows and or stalagmites. I'm sorry, stalagmites are like mountains that grow up. Stalactites are stuck tight to the ceiling. So two big stalagmites there that you can kind of hide in the shadows of those. These two goblins have their backs to you, and Clark is over here, and he's not really looking in their direction. He's more looking out in this direction, and he is saying, "Oh, we will be ready when they come back. We will destroy them. I will make them pay for the deaths they have caused to my people." And Ripper, and he reaches over and he pats the wolf. "You shall eat well. I will let you rip the throats out of the ones who killed your brothers." And Ripper kind of looks at him and goes, and so yes, Clark is a big old bugbear, and he has a great club that actually probably hits more like a morning star, because along the shaft of the club, he's got like jagged pieces of iron and heavy spikes sticking out of it, and it's wrapped in a couple of iron bands. So you know that if you ever got hit by that thing, that would really, really hurt, probably. Because Clark, as a bugbear, he's a good 7.5 feet tall. He's imposing, rippling muscles, and he just looks mean. He has resting mean face, if you will.
Okay.
So that's what you see. What do you want to do about your companions down in the chamber below.
If no one's seen me, I would like to just, and we don't want to do combat yet. What are my chances to hide here? What am I looking at here? I think it's 33%.
Yeah. Now you've got there's heavy shadow behind this, so that would probably double your chances because of the shadow that you could get there. The thing is, if you just come up and leave that rope down there, nobody down below is going to know what's going on here.
Okay. Right, yep. So I'll just climb back down and we'll.
Okay. All right. So let us say you can lower yourself back down. Let us say that you climbed up and just got enough to peek your eyes over to see what was going on, and then just climb back down to begin with. Okay. And then Amy and Alban, you get the report from Tomas of everything that he's seen up here. And you know that the grappling hook is secure, so that anybody who wants to go up that is not going to have to make a climb check. They can just haul themselves up the rope with the grappling hook.
Okay. So I asked Amy, so if do you have a spell ready? I heard something that you were.
It's already ready to go.
Okay. Then I guess the question is, would Amy want to try that before she hears the distraction, or is she going to wait until she hears the distraction of the people outside of Clark's cave before she tries to charm him?
After the distraction.
Okay. All right.
Like that would be better.
Okay. So yeah. So then Amy, you can get in position over here. Or we can wait until next week and you can get position over here. And so that's where we will leave it. We will start next week with a distraction outside the cave, see how everything plays out there. And then Amy can try casting her spell. And what is it, 30 feet for that? So you've got, or it's probably longer than that in this edition. Charm person. Let me double check what that is.
25 feet plus every caster level.
I think that's actually AD&D.
Every two levels.
So let me double check and see what this was. Did I? Okay, come on. 120 feet actually. So it's 120 feet in this edition. Yeah. That thing you were talking about where it's so many feet and then a number of feet per level, that sounds like something they actually came up with in, I believe it was either AD&D or it might have even been in 3rd edition. So in this edition of the rules, it's just a flat 120 feet. So yeah, you've got plenty of range when you get it, but he does have to be somebody you can see. No. And since that chamber is lit by a fire, there's no problem with that. All right, everyone. Well, thank you, players, for coming out and playing this evening. We have a nice, exciting combat queued up for next week. We have a growing goblin army, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
That is going to be something like the people of this area of the Sylvan Empire have never seen before. They've always thought of goblins as bloodthirsty monsters, but now, well, maybe now not so much.
Oh, they're just condiments.
Okay. Before we leave for the evening, chat room, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate you being here. And do any of the players, do you all have anything that you would like to let the chat room know about?
I mean, I still stream, but that's about it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything coming up that on their, if you all have Twitch or YouTube channels, or you do any kind of other streams or games during the week?
I am actually going to be starting in my own campaign on Road 20 real soon. I'm going to be using the GURPS system for anybody who knows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it stands for Generic Universal Role Playing System, and I'm going to be doing like a sci-fi type of campaign. For those of you who watched the series called Raised by Wolves, I'm going to base it off of that.
Okay.
It's not going to be exactly that. It's a real good series too, by the way. I highly recommend it. It's going to be similar to that in theme. I'm going to borrow a little bit of their idea, and it's not ready right now, but it's probably going to be ready in about a month, because I'm just trying to get it ready right now. And when it's ready, I'm going to start. I'm going to try to recruit some players, and then start from there. If you guys are interested in joining at that time, I'll let everyone know on this board.
Yeah, when you get everything all set up, Henry, make sure that one of these times at the end of the session, you drop that into the Discord, and then I can put it on the chat, and that way, everybody who's watching on my channel and everybody who's watching through the host that Z is doing will be able to see the link so that they can go ahead and follow your game.
Well, great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thank you, though.
All right. Yes. Nightbot is strict on its all caps.
Yeah, it was angry.
It doesn't like that. It's people will inadvertently get themselves banned for a few seconds by Nightbot. Fortunately, if you don't do it very much, it'll just like ban you for 5 seconds or mute you for like 5 seconds, and then it will let you type again.
Yeah.
What was that Nightbot? What's that, from Twitch or?
Yeah, I was on my Twitch. I went into his Twitch and I typed Goblin Army in all caps, and his bot banned me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just installed Nightbot on the default settings and everything. So at some point when I get, I'll have to tweak some of that and say, okay, well, for these users who are actually part of the game, don't do that. But
you need to put a channel in the Discord, and we'll link our Twitches in there. That way, people can pull those up to watch those.
Yeah,
I had to go find yours because you don't have yours attached to your profile.
Yeah, I right now I the Discord that I have, I use a separate Discord for each game, and I only invite the people who are actually playing in the game to the Discord.
Right. I'm saying for like our game, like so that people can find yours and mine, and I guess Henri as well is going to be doing it.
Yeah, DM, I have a question for you. Like, if
Sure.
this your campaign, if the campaign we're playing in right now is still going on, by the time I'm ready to start my campaign, you're okay with me running my own campaign and playing in your campaign at the same time too? It just won't be on the same day and the same time though. I'm just saying, like, I'll be a player in your campaign, I'll be GMing my own campaign.
Yeah. I don't think that. Yeah. I would be shocked if anybody tried to tell you, no, you're playing in my you can't run your own campaign. That would be kind of dumb. So yeah, sure. I mean, whatever you want to do.
Okay, cool. Thanks. And by the way, you it sounds like you know about GURPS. You know GURPS, right?
I am familiar with it. Yes. It's been. I think I played with one of my regular D&D groups. We tried GURPS and did like a one-shot GURPS. And it was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. But nobody was ever really interested enough in it to develop a campaign. So we never really went back to it. But it was kind of a fun system. But that's the beauty about one of the things I really like about Roll20. It does have its problems, but it is system agnostic, and so it supports a huge array of different systems. You can run D&D in it, all different versions of D&D, as witnessed with this campaign, or with this adventure, I should say, because this is more of a closed-end adventure, and then potential campaign will be down the road. When we see what everybody thinks of this by the end of it. And then you can do 5e, you can do 3e, whatever, but you can also do Pathfinder, you can do Star Wars, you can do all the other types of systems, including GURPS and Fate and everything in Roll20. So.
Yeah, I see their drop-down box. It seems like, more systems are added like periodically. So that list is growing bigger.
Yeah. It is, there's a lot of people that like Roll20 and there's a lot of people that hate Roll20, and there's another big competing virtual tabletop out there called Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah, and also Foundry. I think Foundry is
Foundry, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Foundry is like a newer one. It may be out of beta now, but it is. I believe I'm correct in saying that it's much newer than the other two. And when I was looking at all of them, the reason I chose Roll20 to run games is because you don't have to have everybody logging into your own server to play the game. If you are hosting a game on Fantasy Grounds, basically you have to set up the machine you're running the game from as a server, so that everybody logs into your machine. And in Roll20, the game is actually on the cloud, and the DM and all the players log into the cloud. And I just prefer that because I don't want, I don't necessarily want to have to be running all the horsepower to have everything running on the game on my end. I just rather have it be in the cloud. And in that way, that also makes it easier if your computer dies and you go and you get a new computer, well, you just log back in to Roll20 and all your stuff is there and you haven't lost everything.
Gotcha.
But, different people will tell you there's advantages, and rightly and wrongly, there are advantages and disadvantages to each of the platforms. It's just a matter of what you like best, I think. Okay. Well, once again, thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to end the stream. Thanks everyone for dropping by and playing. And thank you, viewers, for hanging out and watching. And we hope that you all will join us again next week. Okay, take
All right,
care, everyone.
you got my email about me not being able to start until like 7:45, like going forward now, pretty much, right? I think I can actually log them between 7:30 and 7:45 just because of family problems. But is that okay with you?
Okay, I didn't see that you sent that today, I guess.
Yeah, I sent that to your like I DM you in
Oh,
on row 20.
On roll 20? Okay. Yeah, okay, I didn't. Yeah, I don't think I saw that. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I think I chose one of the options like on send email directly to like.
Okay. So, okay. So when you're in the game, you can't see that. It's not until you log out of the game that you can see that. So that's why I haven't seen it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So. All right. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Cause we'll talk about that, and maybe we'll take it to Discord and talk to everybody else about that as well, and see what's what with that. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Take care, and good night, viewers.